Hello, good morning. This is the second episode of the Discover Your Calling series by Conscious Crafters. And today we're going to be talking about your inner child, that part of yourself which is dynamic, which is so creative, and which loves new things. And is wondered, is just in an awe looking at this world, is curious, has no prejudices, is open to everything. Now, recently, I was in a personal session with an old friend of mine, and when we began to talk, and I was looking at this person, I was hearing this person, and I began to feel like that inner child, which I knew from many years before, was not there. It was kind of lost. And as we began the session, and as I began to ask her what's going on and what's happening in your life, I heard things like being confused, not feeling contented, feeling like being stuck in the same thing, doing over and over the same practices, the same thing, doing it over and over again. And like Tony Robbins says, when you do the same thing every day, you cannot expect something different to happen in your life. And that's exactly what we are wanting to experience, something new. But on the other hand, the way we behave is the same. So that equation is not going to go on our side. And I asked her, so what is it? How do you want your life to be? And to our amazement, it was something that she never even looked into, never really asked herself. So I try to make it a little easier. And I asked, what's important to you about the work that you do? And still, it was challenging to come up with some ideas. So eventually I just asked her to close her eyes, and I did a small little exercise where she was able to connect with her higher consciousness, or just simply putting it, just she relaxed, she let go of all the conditions that she had in her mind instantly. And we can do that in a very structured, process-oriented meditation, and we can experience these things. So when we came out of that, there was more clarity, and things like wanting to be independent, wanting to be free to be able to make my decisions were some of the things that she said to me. And I said, well, does the work that you're doing satisfy these values? And she said, yeah, it does. It actually, to some extent, it does. So then why don't you feel content? Why do you still feel like you're stuck? What are you looking for? And I looked up and I looked into my mind, and I remembered the 6 needs that Chloe Modanis had given to us, which were certainty, uncertainty, love, support. It's the same thing. Love and support are the same thing. And the fourth one is, so the first is love, support, uncertainty, certainty, growth, contribution, and significance. So the first 4 needs, if you look at it, is something that the society wants you to fulfill, or we feel the need of being certain about things, being certain that we have this payroll coming in for us. But at the same time, we also need some variety. We need some variety because if we do the same thing every day, we feel bored, and we need that variety in our lives. The third thing, we need significance of what we are doing. We need to feel rewarded. We need to feel recognized. And in the same line, the 4th need of love and support is about having a supportive work environment, or a family environment. So those are the needs where we are mostly focused upon. And these are labeled under the egoic needs. When you look at the last 2 needs, growth and contribution, these are labeled under spiritual needs. And in order for us to break into that, to even realize that growth and contribution is very, very essential, it takes us into an inner journey, into questioning ourselves about things in life that we may never have asked ourselves. Like, what is the purpose of all of my actions? What am I here to really do in this world? How am I being able to impact people around me and at large, globally, universally? And these questions, it really brings out a lot of great ideas for us, and also a chance of growth, because then we want to take new challenges. It can be starting a new business for someone, or it can be something else. It can be pursuing a passion, whatever. It can be anything. And that is what we discovered with this person, is unless you expand your consciousness, we do not have these realizations. We are in a programmed state of mind, and it does fulfill some of our needs, but we can be stagnant. We can feel very, very unuseful in some sense, and things just go 1 day, 2 day, and we forget about the little child, the inner child that we began this conversation with, which wants to express more of its energy, more of its enthusiasm in our lives and affect the people around us. So I invite you to let your inner child speak. Have a conversation with your inner child. Say to it, I know you're somewhere in there. I know because I was you at some point. This little child just running around, doing crazy things, not afraid to make mistakes, learning. And I want to ask you, what do you like for me to do? What do you love doing? What do you enjoy doing? Is there anything you want to tell me? Please communicate. And as you sit down and do this exercise, I'm sure you're going to come up with some really good insights. I'm really sure about that because I have done it myself, and it's mind blowing on so many levels. This was what I wanted to share with you today through this podcast. Finding your inner child, functioning at a level of vibrancy, at a level of experience that uplifts everything around you, the whole of Earth. It doesn't just have to be humans, everything. That's how we live a more fulfilled and more joyful life. And there are some days, that's right, there are some days where the challenges become so big for our skill. The skill that we have is not enough for the challenge we are undertaking. And in those times, we might feel frustrated. We might feel anxious. And in those times, we need to stop and reflect and do things that is fun for us. Well, it can be watching a movie. It can. Why can't it be like that? Or playing your drums, playing your musical instrument, or just writing things down. And again, coming back to our values again. What gives us the sensation, the feeling of taking actions? Empowered actions, not just actions, empowered actions. It's about coming back to that again. And as we do that, we're going to see a lot of options. We're going to see a lot of new initiatives that we can take to accomplish the goal that we're looking for. That's all I wanted to share about today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Sumit. Have a lovely, 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 lovely week.